folks. Welcome to Naname's classroom. Remember, in this classroom, we say knowledge is power. So tell yourself that you're going to acquire knowledge and power. A very good evening to you again. Before we dive into our lesson this evening, I would like us to listen or to pick something from a food of thought that I believe it will help you in your daily life whilst you're acquiring knowledge, in whatever form the knowledge is coming to you. There is a saying or a quote that says that the mind is not a vessel to be filled, but a fire to be kindled, according to Plutarch. Plutarch says that the mind is not a vessel to be filled, but a fire to be kindled. And that is true. The mind that you have is not just a vessel where you put water, whether it's oil you want to fill in it, you just keep pouring. But rather, what is he saying? He says it is what? A fire to be kindled. When fire is hot, you know what it can do. For food to get cooked, you need fire. Fire is very important. To melt metals, you need heat, which comes from fire. Fire can either be good or can be what? Bad in a way. But our emphasis is how ignite it can be. So acquiring knowledge is very, very, very what? Essential. Don't see it as you are just pouring. You keep pouring into it as a vessel will look like. But rather, see it as a fire that needs to be kindled. Let's dive into our lesson today. Today, I want us to look at a valley. From our family altar, we're looking at a valley that had dry bones, and it is dry. A valley itself has dry bones. Everything there was dry, according to Ezekiel. But what is a valley geographically? A valley is a mountain. It's two mountains. The middle of a two mountain, we call it what? A valley. Meaning two highlands. In the middle, we call it what? A valley. A valley mostly have what we call what? A water body. It can have a river, a stream, either a permanent river or a non-permanent river, but there should be water in a valley. A valley also has shade. A valley mostly have plants. It is very nutritious. The place is very fertile. That is what? Inside what? A valley. Two highlands. The middle of a two highland, we call it what? A valley. And I'm saying most of the time, a valley must have a water body. Most of the time, it has a water body, which can be a river, a stream. Even the river can either be a permanent one or a non-permanent one. And where there's a river, definitely there will be what? Plants that will grow there. So that is what we call what? A valley. Let's come here. You look on the board here. Any raised land is called what? A mountain. Another raised land is called what? A mountain or a highland. So in between what? Two mountains, between here is what we call what? A valley. So a valley is deep down here. This is what we call what? A valley. And in a valley, most of the time, geographically, there will be what? A river inside it. And I'm trying to make you understand the river can either be seasonal, can be permanent or what? Non-permanent. But definitely within a river, most of the time is very, very what? Nutritious. Because what happens? Whenever there's anything that is on top here, which is a crest, it all fall down into what? Into the valley. Whether they are dead plants, animals, or they all fall down here into this what? Into this valley. And when they fall down, decomposition will what? Take place, making the what? The land there very what? Fertile. Unless the water that will erode it, the river that will gain rejuvenation and erode it, inside the valley, it should be very, very what? Fertile. Because everything moves from the crest and it comes into what? The middle of what? Of a valley. So this is what we call what? A valley. I hope you now know that any place where there are two mountains in between it, we call it what? A valley. Valley mostly have what? A river or a water body in it. Can be a stream or whatever you can think of, but one thing you should know that the river can sometimes be permanent or what? Non-permanent. I hope you have learned something in my classroom. Meet you next time. Bye. Ciao. Remember, knowledge is power. Tell yourself you are going to acquire what? Knowledge.